What's up, guys? It's Bumpkins. Today is Wednesday, March 23rd. Wednesday means New Comic Book Day. New Comic Book Day means New Comic Book Haul video. As always, I went down to Infinity Flux here in Chattanooga, Tennessee for another big old stack of books, but actually about half of these are back issues, which means that this stack right here is my stack of new books for the week. And yeah, it's a little bit smaller than normal, but that's okay. It's never a bad thing to save a little bit of money. There's still some good stuff in here that we will get into in just a second. Real quick, guys, if you are looking for a comic shop, if you don't have one, or if you need a better one, and you want to start a pull list, reach out to Infinity Flux. They will ship across the U.S. if you have a pull list with them. So if you want to, if you're wanting to get some of these books every week or every month or whatever, just reach out to them. They are tagged in the description below, and start a pull list, and they can help you out. Let's go ahead and get started, though. Like I said, just because there's not quite as many books doesn't mean that there's not some awesome ones in here. So we'll get started with Ben Reilly Spiderman number 3. This is 3, I think, of a 5-issue miniseries, just chronicling more adventures of Ben Reilly from back in the day, right around the time he first became Spider-Man. So this fits in with the Ben Reilly books from the 90s. I don't know if this story takes place in the 90s, but that's where it fits. That's where it would have come out chronologically. He's fighting some villains, but he doesn't know if they're really there. That's weird. We finally get to see sort of who's behind it all, but we don't know why he's still seeing these villains that may or may not really be there. So it's pretty interesting. I really like the artwork in this too. I can't remember the artist's name, unfortunately. It's not Dan Jurgens. He did the cover, but the art inside is really cool. I'm really enjoying this miniseries. I try not to dive into too many miniseries anymore, but this one is a good one. Next up is Devil's Reign Villains for Hire number 3. So this is the last of this particular tie-in to the Devil's Reign series. This should have come out probably last week or earlier, because the way this book ends leads right into Devil's Reign number 5. So Marvel hasn't done such a great job of getting some of these released on time, especially like with the Moon Knight tie-in. That one was way late, but this one was pretty good. So if you're in the grand scheme of tie-ins and main storylines, if you haven't read Devil's Reign yet and you want to, and you don't know if you really need to read the tie-ins or not, this one is probably the one that most closely relates to the main story, because it has a U.S. agent here leading the Thunderbolts, doing not so good things under the direction of Kingpin. But again, this issue doesn't line up with Devil's Reign, because after Devil's Reign number 5, Kingpin has a different focus than he does in here, even though this one came out later. So, but yeah, this one was pretty good. This one was probably one of the better tie-ins. I really like seeing U.S. Agent. Oh, I really like the character, first of all, but I like seeing him sort of take on a leadership role, even though he's leading a team of bad guys, basically. But he's still trying to do what's right. He's not quite as, not quite as much of a stand-up guy as Captain America is, but he's still pretty good. So yeah, I like this one quite a bit. So if you want to know which tie-ins to read, I would recommend this one. And then speaking of Devil's Reign tie-ins, Devil's Reign X-Men number 3. This is the last one of this tie-in as well. Now, this one isn't as crucial. Well, none of them are crucial, but this one isn't as closely related to the Devil's Reign main story as Villains for Hire. But this one was actually my favorite one, which I was kind of surprised by. And actually, this whole miniseries really doesn't even focus on the X-Men. It just focuses on Emma Frost. Elektra's in there a little bit. She's not really in this one, but she factors into the first two. But just the way Emma Frost is portrayed in this miniseries, and she's so cold and calculating, and she uses her telepathic abilities in really creative ways. I never would have really put her and Kingpin together, not together, but like built a story around the two of them and how they interacted with each other. The whole thing was really cool. So again, if you're wondering which tie-ins you should read with the main story, this doesn't really affect the main Devil's Reign storyline at all, but it's really good. So if you could only pick one, I'd probably pick this one first, and then Villains for Hire second, just because this one closely relates to the story, but this one is just really good. Iron Man number 18, still haven't caught up with the series yet, still super far behind. I think I've only read like the first 4, 5, or 6 issues, so I'm way far behind, but I can't not buy these awesome Alex Ross covers, and these are the A covers, so probably for as long as Alex Ross does an A cover for this series, I'm probably going to get it, because he's done one for the entire series so far, so you could lay all these out. These are almost like the Timeless covers where they go together, you know what I mean? So I haven't read this yet, but I cannot wait to catch up. So probably my favorite Marvel book this week, of the ones that I got anyway, was Shang-Chi number 10. This is one of my favorite series from Marvel right now. This issue was really, really cool. We get to see all 5 members of the 5 Weapon Society again. They're trying to... They're not all on speaking terms, if you will. They're not all on the same footing, but they are trying to take down Shang-Chi's grandfather. He's a really cool character. We know more about him than we did a few issues ago, but I feel like there's still more we could learn, and it's super interesting. The art in this book is great. This issue was really action-packed. I just really, really like this issue. I want to learn more about his grandfather. I'm excited to see the story continue after how this one ended. I recommend this entire series highly. The only thing I'll say is this particular book right here, probably the worst paper quality of any comic I've ever held in my 30 years of reading comics. Marvel, it's widely known that Marvel has the worst paper quality of any publisher on the market. This book in particular, and I don't know why, the minute I picked it up, I was like, wait a minute, this feels different. Like even, well, I haven't picked that one up, but like even different from like, you know, Devil's Reign, or I read the next book after it, after this one, and it just felt different. This one almost felt, the cover especially, almost literally felt like tissue paper. Like every page turn, I thought I was going to rip it. It is so thin, thinner than any of the other Marvel books that I picked up this week, thinner than any Marvel book I've ever felt before. I don't know why this one in particular, but it was bad. So yeah, I recommend this book, but if you get it, handle it with kid gloves. And then the last one for Marvel, this was really fun, Venom Lethal Protector number 1. So this borrows the name from Venom's first self-titled miniseries, or first self-titled series ever, but it was a miniseries back in the 90s, Venom Lethal Protector. And this one actually takes place sort of back then as well. So kind of like Ben Reilly's Spiderman miniseries, this is kind of in the same vein, where chronologically this story is supposed to fit back with those old Venom 90s miniseries, but obviously it came out today. But just old school Venom. I haven't read a lot of the newer Venom stuff. I know he's like on like some cosmic level now. I haven't read King in Black or any of the Donny Cates run yet, so I know he's like crazy cosmic guy now. But this one is just street level Venom, still hating Spider-Man, still wanting to kill Spider-Man, but still stopping a purse snatcher. So that stuff's pretty cool. Written by David Michelinie, who was the co-creator of Venom and wrote, I believe he wrote the Venom Lethal Protector miniseries. So it was cool to see that. The art in this book, I can't remember the artist's name in this one either. I probably should have looked that up before. But the art was really good as well. So I know I said that I'm trying to stay away from so many Marvel miniseries, but I will be getting this one. So as for DC, it was a smaller DC week as well, but still some really good ones. I actually read all the DC books this week. Action Comics 1041. You guys know I'm loving this series. I'm loving the War World storyline. It's so good. This issue is a little bit different in that it doesn't focus on Superman and Steel and OMAC and all the other members of the Authority that are with him trapped on War World. This one actually focuses on Midnighter because he's the only member of the Authority that wasn't captured by Mongol and the Warzoons when this series first started. So we haven't really seen him much in this storyline. He's been kind of like slinking around in the background, formulating an escape plan. How's he going to get... He's really focused on saving Apollo, but he wants to help the other members of the team as well. But he's been formulating a plan, and I think, according to this book, I think they've been there like 40-something days. It says lunar cycles. I don't know if that's hour days or not, but it seems like they've been there a long time. And he's been sort of working with underground members of some kind of resistance to formulate an escape plan. How's he going to bust out Apollo? How's he going to free Superman? All that stuff. So this one focuses more on him, but it's still really cool. And it looks like we are about to... I don't know if the next issue is the last issue of this storyline, but it's really ramping up now. It's really getting there. So I cannot recommend this particular storyline highly enough. This one's so good. Check it out. Next up is Deathstroke Inc. number 7. I really like this one. This one was quite a bit different from the rest of the series so far. You know, the first several issues was him and Black Canary teaming up to investigate... I can't even remember the name of the team anymore, or the organization anymore. Truth? Or was that who they were working for? I don't remember. But, and then at the end, or last issue was about him taking over the new society. Shoot, I can't remember the name of this of the team of supervillains he was going to head up. I can't remember, Secret Society, something like that. But this issue doesn't really focus on that. This issue is all about Respawn from the Robin book, which we'll talk about in a minute. So we finally learned who Respawn is in this issue. I was a little bit right, but I still didn't see it coming how they would sort of make all that work. So it's really focused on Deathstroke and Respawn and Ravager. Those are pretty much the only characters in this book, but it's still really interesting. I figured that we would learn about Respawn in the pages of Robin, since that's where we first saw him. But no, he is Respawn is now sort of ingrained in the Deathstroke storyline now. And this was so it was good, but I kind of feel like it's a setup for the Shadow War crossover that's about to come out starting next month, I believe. Or actually, I think it starts next week. But still a really good issue. I highly recommend it if you want to know about Respawn, or maybe get prepared for the Shadow War storyline. And there was also a little teaser at the end, like an epilogue, that gives us a little teaser about the Dark Crisis storyline. So it was really cool. So and plus, beautiful cover too. This one was really good. Detective Comics 1058, the conclusion of the Arkham Tower storyline. And really, this is more an epilogue to the Arkham Tower storyline. It really kind of wrapped up last issue, and this is kind of picking up the pieces, getting everything sorted. The Mayor Nakano, I think, he doesn't want to close down Arkham Tower, even though a lot of craziness happened there over the course of the last 12 issues. But so yes, maybe setting up a status quo for things to come. We get a little bit of all the characters in this. Batman, Batwoman, all those guys are there. But yeah, just sort of cleaning up, a little bit of tidying up this crazy storyline that we've had, but still really good. So I'm definitely on board to keep reading whatever the next story is. And then the backup of this story was really good too. So the backup of Detective Comics has been a storyline as well. So it's been another 12-issue long storyline. And this one was really good. And the way it ended was kind of chilling with how invested we've been in this story, in this backup story. And then the way that it ended was really interesting, kind of creepy, kind of chilling. Just this book was a really good one. So I mentioned it a minute ago, Robin number 12. So this one sort of feels like a sort of a rest period, just kind of like Deathstroke did. A little bit of a rest period until we get into the Shadow War storyline. Robin is back in Gotham, but we may be seeing a little bit of a status quo change for him as well. So this was kind of kind of like Detective and Deathstroke. This kind of felt like an epilogue to all the other issues that we've read so far, but it was still really good. The art was really good too. We get some Talia, some Ra's al Ghul in this. Yeah, this was just a really solid issue, and I cannot wait to see him in Shadow War. And then last for DC, and I think almost last for this series, thank goodness, Teen Titans Academy number 13. You guys know I just don't like this book, but I think it ends. I think it's ending next issue, or maybe the one after that. It's soon, so I'm just going to finish out the series. This is part 4 of the War for Earth 3. This one does tie in to that story a little bit more than Flash did last week. We do, see members of Suicide Squad in it. We get more we see that more characters are going to be involved, I guess, in the conclusion, which I think comes out next week. But I just, we do get to see more of the Titans than we normally have. We do see some of the kids that are part of the Teen Titans Academy that are cool characters. I just don't know anything about them. And again, just like I've said before, and maybe it's all on me, but this is a book that has focused so hard on all these characters that to me came out of nowhere. So maybe I need to bone up on who those characters are to enjoy this. But I just, the first few issues were good, but eventually this book just focused so heavily on these characters that I didn't know who they were, had no connection to. I just kind of got tired of it. So this was a pretty decent tie-in to War for Earth 3, but I'm not sad to see this one end whenever it does. So I don't have any non-Image indie single issues this week, but I do have a couple from Image. This one is Ghost Cage number 1. I just finished reading it, and I'll just say, guys, I didn't like this. I thought it was weird. I didn't really know what I was reading, what was going on. After I was done reading it, I had to go read the solicitation on Previews World just to sort of figure out what was happening. So it's a little bit, I don't know. It just felt weird. I don't know what it was about it. It's a black and white comic. I couldn't really tell what was going on at times. Maybe it would have been a little bit better if it was in color. It's only a 3-issue miniseries, and usually with those, I'm like, well, maybe I'll just ride it out. This one, I'm definitely not. I might get the trade when it's done, but you know, I'm not trying to influence you to say you won't like it either. It's just I didn't like it. If you've read about it and it sounds interesting to you, then by all means, pick it up and try it out. But just for me, I was just so confused the entire time. And this is like a thicker book too. I don't know if it's 48 pages. It's like 30 something at least. And the entire time I had no idea what was going on, so this is a pass for me. And then last up from Image, Gunslinger Spawn number 6. Again, it's going to go down in my Spawn pile down here. I haven't caught up on any Spawn yet. I did flip through this though. I don't know why I'm not reading this, because Brett Booth does the art. He's one of my favorite artists right now, or he has been for years. So this book looks gorgeous. I just need to sit down and catch up so that I can partake of all that artistic goodness. So like I said, half of my stack was back issues from the dollar bin. I got some cool stuff here. True Believers, Rebirth of Thanos. I'm not really sure what book this even reprints, but I love these True Believers books, and this is one that I didn't have. This looks like this is classic Ron Lim, Silver Surfer, and Thanos, so for $1, I had to pick that one up. I also picked up Iron Man Annual number 11 and number 12. I have Iron Man Annual number 13, so I just got these to go with it. I don't know what's... This is the Subterranean Wars Part 4. I think I might have some other of those. And this one is the Terminus Factor Part 2. I don't know if I have any of those or not, but I just want... You know, I have a pretty extensive run of Iron Man, and only one annual, so now I've got 3 of them. I also got several back issues of Deathstroke the Terminator. I'm not really sure why, but I've just sort of... It's one of those weird things, kind of like X Factor, where I just sort of stumbled into collecting this run. So I picked up number 7 and number 8 and number 9. This is like a 3-issue series with Batman. That's pretty cool. And number 10. Number 12, because I already had 11, so that's going to fill that hole. Number 13. And number 14, Total Chaos Part 1 with Nightwing. I'm not sure if it's all the Titans or just Nightwing, or Teen Titans is coming this month. So that's pretty cool. This is, you know, early 90s Deathstroke. I love that era of DC. And so, yeah, now I've got a run of Deathstroke numbers 2 through 14. So that's pretty cool. And then the last dollar back issue, I'm not really sure what this is, but it's a Superman Special number 2. But I picked this one up because it's from 1984. And like I've said before, I love this like 80s to early 90s era of DC. I just think it's really cool. So this is a little bit before Crisis on Infinite Earths. That one was 1995. So this is 94, right before Superman's origin. Everything about Superman gets revamped, basically. Basically, the whole DC universe gets revamped. But yeah, like I said, it's number 2. I don't know what the story is, but you know, 1980s DC, I will definitely get that every time. But the fun doesn't stop there. I got a couple of collected editions as well. The first one being Lucky Devil, the trade paperback, which collects the 4-issue series from Dark Horse. I did pick up the first issue when it first came out. I don't think I read it though, because I think I decided, yeah, I'll just wait for the trade and read the whole thing at once, and I'm glad I did. It sounds like a really cool story. A guy gets possessed by a demon, tries to have an exorcism, it goes wrong. He retains the supernatural abilities that the demon gave him, and now he sort of goes on a tear and I don't know if it's accidentally, but he starts a cult and all kinds of cool stuff. So yeah, I'm super excited to read this, and I'm glad I waited for the trade. And then the last one that I'm actually really excited about, the title's weird. This is Carnage, Born in Blood. I don't know why it's called Carnage, Born in Blood, because this Epic Collection collects the Maximum Carnage 14-issue maxi series from the early 90s. So maybe it's called Carnage Born in Blood because the first issue in this that's collected is actually Amazing Spider-Man 361, which is Carnage's first appearance and was not part of the Maximum Carnage storyline. This does collect, so this collects Amazing Spider-Man 361 through 363. I don't think 362 was part of the Maximum Carnage either. I think 363 was it wasn't part 1, but it was one of the parts, basically. So maybe they felt like they couldn't call it Maximum Carnage because there was a couple other Carnage stories in there as well, or there was a lead into Carnage. I don't really know why, but I mean, you see how thick this book is? Out of every issue collected in this book, all but, I think 3 of them are part of that 14-issue Maximum Carnage storyline. So I still have all of my original issues from the Maximum Carnage storyline. They're in this room right behind me, but It was really cool. I loved it when I was a kid, and now I can read it all in just one big book. I like having Amazing Spider-Man 361 in here because now I don't have to open my copy anymore to read it. I can just pop this open, or I guess I could have read it digitally too. But yeah, it's a cool story. You got a lot of guest stars: Captain America, Cloak and Dagger. I'm trying to think of all the different ones, all the different guest heroes that popped up. But yeah, super cool to have this. So if you liked that storyline, or if you wanted to read it, this book, Carnage Born in Blood, is the Maximum Carnage maxi series from the 90s. So that's it, guys. A smaller week, but still a good week. Guys, I appreciate you watching. If you like this video or any of the other videos on my channel, maybe consider hitting the subscribe button. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like this video, give it a sarcastic thumbs up. And if nothing else, leave me a comment below. Let me know what you picked up this week. Did you get what should have been called Maximum Carnage? Get any cool dollar issues? What books did you get that you don't like or tried out and you found out they're not for you? Whatever you got, just leave me a comment and let me know. I love comic books. I could talk about them with a room full of people or just to a camera. Guys, don't forget, comic books are supposed to be fun. They are just another fun form of storytelling. They're a fun form of art, and they're a fun form of storytelling. There is plenty of comics out there that you can look through. Find the ones that you like. Find the ones that appeal to you. And if there's ones that you don't like or that don't appeal to you, just simply ignore them and just let everybody else enjoy those. The Ghost Cage book from Image, I didn't like it, but it's fine. It doesn't bother me that it exists. And if lots of other people like it, that's totally fine. I'm just going to choose not to buy it, and that's fine. I don't really like Teen Titans Academy. If it weren't ending, I would just simply not buy it anymore. But it doesn't bother me that it exists. It doesn't hurt me. Anything that you don't like will not hurt you that it exists. Guys, also don't forget that it doesn't matter how much you buy each week or each month. What makes a great comic book haul is that whatever you did get, you're super excited about, you're super passionate about. You're excited to sit down, crack it open, and read it, and enjoy the story, enjoy the art. Whether it's 1 book, 10 books, 100 books, it doesn't matter. As long as you really enjoy the things that you get, that's what makes a great comic book haul. So guys, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.